Thank you so much for joining us for this coffee talk. I'd like to welcome Dr. David Allen, who's going to be the Director of Field Experiences with the MAP program. I'm very excited as well to have him share some information with us on perennialism. But first I'm going to have him introduce himself to you and tell you a little bit about his background.
Hello, my name is David Allen. I'm the Director of Field Experiences. I'm also a math educator, so I teach in our graduate program students who are looking to have a degree in mathematics education. I also have taught undergraduate math education, teaching teachers how to teach math, and we'll be involved in your field experience a little bit when you take the field experience in the fall. Also, I'll be arranging your student teaching placements, so I intend to call each of you and have a personal conversation with you, so that the placement is what suits your needs best.
Great. I know they're all looking forward to that. We have several who are paraprofessionals in the program, excited to maybe work in their own schools and districts, and I know they're eager to get to that stage of their program. But now that we're in the very first course, they're just learning some basic background information on the foundations of education. And I know we talked a little bit about the importance of perennialism and how that may not have as significant a role in education today, but still does play a role somewhat, particularly when it comes to mathematics. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I actually think it plays a pretty significant role in mathematics. You know, as we have gone through a variety of change and educational reform, Tyack and Cuban wrote a book called Tinkering Towards Utopia, and in that book they said that layers of reform are built upon each other, but there's always these truisms that maintain are maintained in the practice of teachers. And unfortunately, I think perennialism is one of those. And I say unfortunately because you can think about your own experience in learning mathematics. When you think of perennialism, you think of this idea that there's these universal truths. Well, in mathematics, we certainly have facts that we teach that don't change. They're unchanging facts. And so what happens is, there's always 180 degrees in the sum of the angles of any triangle are always 180 degrees, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's something that people teach rather than allowing students to have the opportunity to discover. And there's a number of different ways that we explorations and activities that you can help students determine why that's true or what that means. But unfortunately it's easier. Another example is the idea of multiplying integers. When you think about a positive times a positive is a positive, positive times a negative is a negative. Well, rather than teach students why that's true, we have a tendency just to say this is a convention in mathematics, and we just want you to remember this. So much of our knowledge in mathematics becomes remembered knowledge. Well, the problem with remembered knowledge is that you can forget remembered knowledge. Yeah. So this emphasis of didactic instruction, where we just focus on delivering content, and we think of students' brains as sponges that absorb all of this information. And you can think about this: if you take a sponge and you fill it with water, what happens? It sits there. Well, some of the water drips out. Well, then it's like in a classroom, you take a test. Well, a test would be like squeezing the sponge. All the water comes out, so the students are tested and they're recorded, and they get a grade. Well, then what happens? You release the sponge and it expands again, but it doesn't take any water back in. So now you're teaching a new set of knowledge, and you're trying to fill that sponge again, based upon what? Nothing. The water's gone. So perennialism is one of those things that has maintained kind of a presence in our schools. Now, on the reverse side of that, why is that a problem? Because with our college and career readiness standards in the state of Kansas, our Common Core standards, we're teaching kids to be flexible in their thinking. We want them to be well qualified, not to access a particular knowledge set, but how to use that particular knowledge set.
Exactly.
To discover new ideas and new things. If you think about what we're preparing students for, the jobs we're preparing students for in the future aren't even created yet. So with the exponential growth in technology and the exponential growth in just our society and the way we interact around technology and to accomplish our task. Unfortunately, truisms that we have taught for a long time are not going to be effective. Think about this, just to leave you with a little point. You teach a student that the sum of the degrees in a regular triangle are always 180 degrees. I would challenge you to draw a triangle on an orange and measure the sum of the angles, interior angles of a triangle on an orange, or some other round, a ball, for example. And you'll find that the sum of the interior angles of a triangle are not 180 degrees.
That is a great point.
So, think about that. Think about the knowledge that you believe to be true and that you teach your students, but help them to access that knowledge for the purpose of discovering new knowledge. So.
Great. I think that's a wonderful point to leave on, and I really appreciate your insight when it comes to this, because I think we can get stuck in one construction of thinking, and really with perennialism there is, that idea of the universal truth, but as you said, the way we twist the orange and look at it gives us a new perspective.
It does give us a new perspective.
Well,
so.
Thank you, Dr. Allen.
No problem. Thanks for listening to me, and I will be in touch with each of you.
All right.